May bago mo dili sana. Abi kadas barang dili. Pina. Pina lगा तो मुझसे बटन जाने के लिए बुकिंग करेगा तेरे को तो अरे हमारे में गाना लगाना
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Okay, students, why only 56 or 57 students normally join? Or I have seen till now, I have seen maximum 60 to 70 students have joined, not more than that. Whereas the strength of your class is, I guess, near about 118 or 119. Do, are you facing any problem understanding my teaching or
No, ma'am, it's nothing like that. Attendance is normally low in all the lectures. Last lecture also, it was 77 only. In
is it
the
because it
ending,
is the last lecture? No, this is not last lecture. No? You have.
no, ma'am.
Okay. Let me know if the screen is visible to you. I think today the Teams is getting hang in between. Is the screen visible, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so today we will be discussing about, yesterday we have discussed about the data types, but still we will see in more detail about the data types. Yesterday we have discussed about variables, okay? How to declare the variables, how to use your variables, how the variables are getting stored in the memory and all that we have discussed. Then the scope of the variable also we have discussed in the last lecture. Now we are going to discuss about what is this data type in your C++. So data types, if you remember yesterday I have told you, they are just the predefined type which you are using it for storing a particular type of value in the memory. So when you're talking about data types, they are classified as built-in data types or user-defined data types or derived data types. These are the three categories you have of basic C++ data types. Please remember this one. What all you have? Built-in types, then you have user-defined type, and the third one is called as your derived type. Now what do you mean by this all these three types that we will discuss in more detail. So a data type, as I said, data type is a classification that specifies the type of value a variable can hold or a type of value that you wanted to store in the memory. So the syntax also we have discussed. So the general syntax of declaration of data type is you have to write the data type followed by a particular variable name, okay, and then the semicolon. If you wanted to assign the value to your variable at the time of declaration of your variable, then you will write data type followed by variable name followed by is equal to and then the value and then semicolon. So this is the example of your declaration of data type with the variable. So that is you are writing int space a. So int is your data type and a is your variable. So now this diagram, all of you please, if possible, take a screenshot of this image, because this image is very important. Yes, everyone. This image is similarly given in your book also. These are the data types that are used in your C++. Which all data types you have? Built-in data types, user-defined data types, and derived data types. So what is a built-in data type? First we will discuss about the built-in data type. So as you can see it in the diagram, built-in data type are further classified into integral types, void, and floating types. Because all these three types are available to us, they are built-in means what? Which are already defined in your program. The data types which are already built, or the data types which are already predefined, which are predefined in your program or already defined in your program, they are called as your built-in data types. तो उसमें क्या क्या आता है? Whatever the data types that you have used in your C, the same data types that data types are available in your C++. So whatever we have used, integer, character, floating, all that comes under this built-in data type. Now when you are saying integral type, so integral type में ही you have integer data type and char data type. Integer data type and char data type. When you are talking about floating data type, you have two types in floating data type. That is, one is float and the other one is double. Yes. The size and the range of values we have seen yesterday, so we will not see that again. We will just see how these data types are classified. And you have one more built-in data type which is called as void. Now this void you have not used till now for declaring any particular variable, or you have not used, you might have not used in your C language. But this void data type, no, we will be using we will be using in all our C++ program. Not void is normally not used to declare a particular variable as of type void, because variable cannot be of a type void, but your functions can be of type void. So void data type is basically used with your functions only. Please remember this one. Whereas your integral or the floating data types can be used with your functions as well as the variables, but void data type can be used only with functions. If suppose we want a particular function should not return any value, then in that case we will be using void. That I will explain you when we are doing a program. Okay. Second type of data type that you have, see here, built-in data types, which is classified into integral type, void, and floating point. So floating point may you have float and double, and integral type may you have int and char. Okay, so this is the range of values and the things that you should know about integer, but this we have already discussed yesterday. So when we are talking about integral data type, you have the keyword as int, and the storage space is, now again here it is given as 2 bytes, but it is 4 bytes. The latest one is 4 bytes only. So you remember it as 4 bytes only. And the range of integer values, that also we have discussed. And the type of integers are what? Short int, long int, and you also have unsigned int and signed int also. Okay. Then character also, you know that the keyword that we use for character data type is char. The storage space is 1 byte, and the range of characters is from -128 to +127. Then for floating point, the storage space is 4 bytes, and the range of values we have discussed already. For the double also we have discussed. Okay. So what is this void data type? Built-in data type, we have discussed about this void data type. So just see what is this void data type. Somebody wanted to say something? Okay, Supreet is saying.
Ma'am, can you please check the chat box?
Yeah. I should go a little bit slowly. Okay, that I was going a little bit fast because yesterday also we have discussed the same thing. That's why. That's the reason. See, just see this diagram. This diagram I did not show you yesterday. This is the main diagram which talks about all the data types in your C++. Okay, this is what called as basic data types in C++, but these data types are classified as built-in data types, user-defined data types, and derived data types. So these are the three main categories you have. So now we have to see in these categories what are the other, how they are further classified. So first we will move to built-in data type. So when we are moving to built-in data type, what is this built-in data type? Built-in means what? You can also call it as a predefined or the one which is already defined in your program. Okay, which are known to your program. They are called as your built-in data type. So in that, they are further classified as integral type data types, floating type data types, and void data type. Now integral data type, in integral data type, then you have two basic categories, that is int and char, which we are using in our program. We are using integer data type, we are using a character data type. And in floating type, you know that we have float and double. Yes. And then
Yes, ma'am.
third category that you have is of void. So we will discuss what is this void. Void is normally, see, till now in your C language also you have never used void A. You have never declared any variable like A with void as a data type. Have you declared any variable like that? Yes,
No, ma'am,
students?
not yet.
No, you have not used, and that cannot be used. Void, what the void says? Void means what? It is null, or it can be a zero. There is nothing. Void means what? There is nothing. But we cannot have a variable without having any value. So for a variable we cannot have a data type as void. Then why this void data type is there? So that's what we are going to discuss, that void is normally not used with variables, but void is used with what? Your functions. See, type void was introduced in the ANSI C language. There are two normal use of voids you have. First, to specify the return type of a function when it is not returning any value. Normally, what I was saying, this void is used with only with your functions to give a return type of that particular function. Void cannot be used with your variables. Okay? Or it can be used as an argument list when you don't wanted to provide any arguments to your function. You must have you declare the function with its parameters, right? But suppose koi function ke liye you don't want to pass any parameters. Like suppose now I wanted to have a display function. I wanted to declare one display function. So for display function, do you need any parameters to be passed? Parameters, so I hope all of you understands what do you mean by parameters. Yes, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So display function अगर मैं declare कर रही हूँ और if I am using it in my program, do you think वो display function के लिए parameters will be needed?
No, ma'am.
No. Why? Because display is normally I'll be using this to display two values or display the result of a particular function or a particular operation, right? So there I don't require any parameters. Parameters क्यों हम लोग पास करते हैं function को? Why do we pass parameters to our function? Anybody has an idea about it? Yes, students? Yes, Supreet? Is it okay now or still I am going fast? Yes, Supreet, are you there? Okay, tell me, why do we pass parameters to our function? C may you might have written a program where you have passed to a particular function, you might have passed the parameters. Why do we pass the parameters to a function?
To declare data type.
Not exactly. Anything else? See, normally you pass the parameters to perform the operation on that particular parameters. Parameters मतलब क्या रहता है? वो parameters में हम लोग क्या pass करते हैं? Variables ही pass करते हैं ना? Like suppose if I have written a function called as sum. So I'll be writing int sum and then in a bracket I'll be writing int a comma int b. That means what I wanted to do? I wanted to do the addition of this variable a and b, and I wanted to get the sum of that particular a and b as the answer. Are you getting? So इसके लिए if suppose I have declared a particular function outside main, so I need to pass the variables as a parameter to my function. Normally, you pass the variables as the parameter to your function so that the function can work on that particular parameters or it can work on that particular variables. Am I clear to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I want the response from everyone.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so what happens then in that case? Whenever you pass any variables as a parameter to your function will work on that parameters. So मैंने अगर लिखा sum, then in a bracket int a comma b, then I will open the function bracket. I will write int c, and then I will write c is equal to a plus b. That means what I am doing, the parameters which I pass, I am doing the addition of that, and I am storing the result of that in c, and I am displaying that c. That way I can make use of a parameters. But sometimes all your functions will not need parameters. So to indicate that empty argument list or empty parameters, I can write void inside the parameter. See, this is what your function is. See, this is your function name, right? What is this void called as? The return type of this function. Return type मतलब क्या होता है? ये function whatever you are writing, what type of value that function will return? Yesterday I have told you. Yesterday we saw one
Yes, ma'am.
example also of that sort. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So if it is of an integer, if your function is doing addition of two numbers, it will return answer also as integer answer also as an integer value. So then in that case here your return type will be integer. If suppose your function is concatenating two strings or two characters, then the return type of your function should be char, where it will what it will do, it will concatenate the two characters and it will return the answer also as a character, one single character or whatever it is. So then depending upon what type of function you have, you specify, you write the return type, right? If suppose your function is not returning any value, like normal function में मैंने just cout statement लिखा है which is displaying your value, so then there is no need to have the return statement. तो अगर फंक्शन कोई वैल्यू रिटर्न ही नहीं कर रहा है तो हम लोग उसका रिटर्न टाइप क्या लिखते हैं? उसका रिटर्न टाइप हम लोग void लिखते हैं. So void is used to define the return type of your function or to use it as the return type of your function or to specify the empty argument list of your function. It can be used to specify the empty argument list of your function. So I can write whenever मेरे function के बाजू में जो भी parameters है, अगर if inside that parameters if I am writing void, that means what? Your function doesn't contain any arguments or any parameters. Hope this is clear to everyone now. Yes, students.
Yes, ma'am.
Why only char?
Ma'am, you are not audible. Hello, ma'am.
You can hear me now, students?
Yes, ma'am.
There was a network issue, so got disconnected. Is the screen visible?
Yes.
Okay. So we were discussing about this void data type. So as I said, it can be used to specify the return type of your function, or it can be used to specify the empty argument list of a function. Okay. Now the second type of data type that we have in C++ is user defined data type, and this is very important for us to learn, as it is as we are going to make use of this data type very widely in this C++. Okay, so this is why, first of all, let us understand why it is called as user defined data type and what all the user defined data types you have. So user defined data type matlab the one which is not predefined or one which is not built in. Built in mein we have seen integer is there, character is there, float is there, like that. So these are defined during the development of your programming language. Like jab C++ develop kiya, that time only this int, character, float, they have defined it in that program so that we can use it. All the range, everything, the size of that particular variable type, everything that the programmer has already defined. Okay, but then sometimes what happens when you are doing any real-time programming, or whenever you are doing any whenever you are writing any large program, sometimes it is a necessity that you have to make use of certain different type of a data type other than whatever the predefined data types are available. Means sometimes you don't wanted to make use of integer, character or float data type. You wanted to make use of your own data type, or you wanted to define your own data type. So whenever you wanted to do that, or whenever you will do that, it will be called as user defined data type. Whenever a specific user defines a data type for his own purpose, or for his own task to be done in that particular program, that kind of a data type is called as a user defined data type. Like just for an example, we have see, if suppose if we wanted to write a particular number, we know that we can make use of an integer data type or a float data type. If we wanted to write a characters or the letters, we will make use of a string data type, or we will make use of a char data type. Now suppose if I wanted to write different types of a color, see, there are so many colors available. Yes or no? Yes, students.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So this colors itself can be a particular data type. See, I have a red color, I have a green color, I have a blue color, I have whatever the various colors that are available to you. So when you are saying green, red, yellow, violet, these are all, I can say it as a value. Right. And I can define a particular data type as color. So whenever I will define the data type as color, what I can do, it will give me a clear idea that I am going to make use of any of the color which is available or which is known to the system. Yes or no? So when I will create this color as a separate data type, it will be called as your user defined data type. Understood? Yes, students.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now in the user defined data type, the first one that you have is what? Structures. Structures means what? Structures, I think you might have used in C also. Have you used structures in the struct in your C?
Ma'am, we know, but we don't know like in detail about the
Okay, so
how it works and the syntax of it.
okay, so just see it over here. Here also we don't have that in much detail because structs normally we don't use it now as we have classes and all. So we don't prefer, but this was also one of the user defined data type. Structures are used for grouping together elements with dissimilar types. Whenever you have elements with dissimilar types, you can make use of it as a structure. Like you can have a general syntax of a structure as struct, struct, you have to make use of this keyword struct, followed by what name you wanted to give that struct, and then data type member 1, the other data type member 2. Like I can have one integer value, I can have one float value, I can have sub character value, and when I am grouping that together with particular format, I can create a structure. Like suppose if I wanted to create one particular format for storing students details. Now every student will have a name, every student will have a roll number, every student will have a date of birth. Yes or no, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Every student will have 12 marks. Suppose these are the 4 requirements that I have for every student. So I can create one specific structure for student, and means here I will write struct student, and then inside the brackets, see what all details I want for from every student. I want roll number of that student. Suppose roll number, I can declare it as integer, I can declare it as character also, but suppose roll number I have taken it as integer. So that means first data type I will declare it as int roll number. Then for name I will declare one character variable. So character a of 10, character name of 10, I will declare it for name of the student. For date of birth, suppose I will take again another character or a date format which is not available in C++, but suppose again you have taken another character set for, because I will consider the data string. And then marks again I can take it as integer marks. So so all the data types, means every data type is different, int is different, character is different, right? But they are all talking about what? One student. When I am writing roll number, name, date of birth and marks of a particular student, it gives me the entire details of one particular student. Are you getting, students?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Ma'am, hello.
Yes.
Ma'am, can we create a array of structure? Means in structure we can only enter the detail of a one student. If we have
That's
to
okay. That's okay. See, don't think much. Arrays एक another type of data type है वो, that comes in your another type, that we will discuss it later. ये एक previously when they were new with C or C++, na, they have used the structures. That time arrays was not much. They were not having much ideas about how to make use of arrays or how to create the arrays. They have used arrays, but then sometimes what happens, you have to give the structure of a particular student or give the structure of a particular object. So that time you have to make use of this structure variable, this structure data type. Are you getting? See, there are so many possibilities available. There are so many different ways we have, but sometimes we have to use the one which is already defined. Like suppose the old thing always goes and new comes, but that doesn't mean that you will always throw out the old things. That is not possible, because some of the old things, or suppose sometimes it happens that whatever the old programming languages are there, like nowadays you feel that C is of no use or C is not in much use. In organizations, if you'll go, nobody is making use of C language because they're working with Python, they're working with .NET and all. So then you will say that why we are learning C. So though C is old, but C, C++, these are all the what you can say, the basic steps or the building blocks of all the programming languages. So until and unless you know C or C++, you cannot move to .NET or you cannot move to Python. So similarly, in this concepts also, what happens? We have certain types which, though we are having an advanced version of that particular type, still at certain cases we need this basic types also. So I hope the structured data type is clear to everyone now.
Yes, ma'am.
So Kajal, as you were saying, like arrays we can make use of it. But the thing is that sometimes, if suppose it will be, if it is mentioned in your question, if somebody is giving you some certain program and they are saying you that create this particular structure without using arrays, so then you cannot make use of array. You have to define that with structures only. I hope you are getting my point, Kajol.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Next user defined data type we have is called as unions. Now what do you mean by union? Now like your structure, unions are rarely used in any of the programming languages, but the concept is similar. Unions are defined or given because their concept is almost similar to your structures, because they will also allow you to group together the dissimilar types of elements inside a single unit. So the size of union is equal to the size of its largest member element that you have. So unions are similar like your structures. Now next important user defined data type you have is what? Classes. Now this is most important for us also, because we are also going to make use of a classes in our program. So we should know what is this classes. So the entire set of data and code of an object can be made a user defined data type with the help of a classes. Like whatever the objects you are using, whatever the data you are using, that everything we will make it as user defined type. Are you getting? See, like suppose now, जैसा मैंने वो structures का example दिया student का. Similarly, like that. Now when I'm talking about that structure, now as Kajol said, now there will not be only one student, there will be number of students I have, and there will be number of data I may have with respect to each and every student. It will not be only name, roll number, date of birth and marks. It will be certain other data also you may have. So what I will do, I will create a class of a student where I can have any kind of a data related to that particular student and any number of data I can have for that particular student. So whenever you wanted to make it a user friendly, to get any kind of a data of a particular user, you can make use of this user defined data type, which is called as class. So once a class is being defined, we can create any number of objects belonging to that class. Okay, like here they have given the example as suppose you have defined a class called as fruit. Now when you are talking about a fruit can be anything. A mango can be a fruit, chiku can be a fruit, strawberry can be a fruit, or whatever the fruits you know, all those fruits belongs to that particular class fruit, right? But when you are writing fruit space mango, mango becomes the object of type fruit, where fruit is your class. Are you getting, students? When you are writing it like this, fruit space mango, this mango is your object and fruit is your class. So what does it says? You are writing a class fruit which denotes multiple type of fruits in your program. So then there I can create as many objects of a fruit, where I can define mango, I can define chiku, I can define pineapple, I can define apple, or whatever it is. And every object will have different properties and functions with respect to whatever it is. So we'll create an object mango belonging to your class fruit. Hope this is clear, students.
Yes, ma'am.
Then
Yes,
the
ma'am.
last user defined data type you have is what called as enumerated data type, or it is also called as enum data type. Now this enum or enumerated data type is also again similar to your structures, but structures was used in C++ में structures ज़्यादा use नहीं होता है. Instead of structures we will be using enumerations. Now what is this enumerated data type? It is again another user defined data type which provides a way of attaching numbers to names. Like the general syntax of your enum is enum identifier and then the different values you have. Like instead of using arrays, I can use one particular variable for which I can have different values. Like the example I gave you, like suppose now I wanted to have my own data type as colors, because there can be a variety of colors used for different purpose. Okay, So if I wanted to define that color, I can create an enumerated data type of color. So I will write enum color, and whatever the values that I can use for color. See, there are very vast variety of colors you have. I cannot make use of all the colors, but suppose certain colors I wanted to use it for specific purpose, to use it in my program. Like suppose if the color is red, I wanted to indicate that the student is failing. If the color is yellow, I wanted to indicate that the student is about to pass. And if the color is green, that means students is passing. Or suppose instead of that, I will say that if it is green, I will say that the student is getting distinction. If it is yellow, the student is getting first class. If it is pink, student is getting second class. And suppose if it is red, the student is failing. So I wanted to define this color with respect to the student's marks. So to define this color, I can write enumerated data type as enum color, and the colors which I wanted to define, that is which all colors I said, green, yellow, pink and red, that I will define it over here. These values I will define it over here. So that in my program, then I will define that if the color is of type green, then that means the student is getting distinction. So that kind of a message I can print. Understood?
Ma'am, this enum was in C programming also, no?
Okay. It is there in C also.
But
You can
sir, I think sir didn't taught this enum.
what?
Actually, in C program, sir, I think didn't taught this enum in enumerated data type.
I think he might have taught you about the structures, because structures is there in C, and enum normally used with C++ program. We also don't have it in much detail, but you should understand what is enum and what is structure, which is done in your C. Okay, so you just understand that. See, structure में क्या होता है? You are using different data types in one structure. But enumeration में क्या होता है? You are using different values of a similar data type. Are you getting? If suppose I am writing enum color, तो color एक ही data type हो गया, where I am giving its values. So कौन सा color उसमें use करना है? Red color use करना है, green color use करना है, yellow color use करना है. So enum talks about the different values of the similar data type, whereas structure talks about the different data types or the different members of the structure. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Yes, everyone? Everyone else clear with this?
Yes, ma'am.
Then the last one we have is the derived data type. So here comes in the derived data type, this is the third type of data type in C++, where you have the type of derived data type as when you are using arrays, functions and pointers, they all belong to the derived data type. As you are aware about the arrays, how the arrays are used. Arrays are nothing but what? Array is a fixed sequence collection of elements of same data type that share a common name. Like if suppose for a particular variable, if you have more than one values, then all that values you can store it in one single variable, which will be called as your array. Yes or no? Yes or no, students? When I wanted to store a multiple values for a single variable, I can declare that variable as an array. So arrays will hold the different values for one single variable. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Of and the values will be of what? They will be of the same data type. Like if I am writing int a of I, then that means that I will have all the values of integer type. Right? So the syntax for declaring your array variable is what? Data type space the name of the array, and then you have to give the size of the array. So if you remember, I told you, even if suppose you will not give size, if you will keep it empty, in some of the compilers they will allocate the size automatically with respect to whatever the code you have written in the program. But in certain cases or with certain compilers that won't work, it will ask you to initialize your array with a specific value. So to initialize your array, you can make use of a for loop where you can ask the user, like here the whatever the for loop is being given there, what you're doing, you're taking 10 different values for this variable A. In the array, you are storing 10 different values for this variable A. Next, you have function as another second type of derived data type. Now, what is a function? A function is a group of statements that togetherly perform a particular task. Like whenever you wanted to perform a particular operation, so you will put that operation in one particular method, which is called as a function. Normally, all the functions in your C++ will be termed as the methods. Okay, so every C++ program has at least one function, which is nothing but what? Main. So even if you're not writing any other function, at least main function you will have in your C++ program. So which will have the structure like this: void main, and then you will have a set of statements. And then the last one you have is a pointers. That also I think you have learned in C languages about the pointers. Yes, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So what is a pointer? A pointer is a variable that holds a memory address. What is a pointer? It is nothing but what? Another variable only. But what it is doing? It is holding a memory address. So the syntax of your pointer is what? You have to write a data type followed by asterisk and then the pointer name. So this asterisk denotes that this is not a normal variable, it is a pointer variable. So pointer name is same as your variable name. So if I am writing int pointer p, so it means that I am creating a pointer variable p. So this is just the summary of the basic data types that you have in C++. You have structures, you have unions, you have classes, you have enumerated data types. And then if we are talking about the derived data types, you have arrays, you have functions, and you have pointers. Hope this is clear to everyone. Yes, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
So we will stop here for today. In the next lecture, we will start with our classes program.
And which program?
We will start with the classes.
And also, ma'am, about the that structure and all, when we'll be using it in the program, you will explain it again now.
Yes, yes. Structures, we don't have any specific program with structures. Structures, you should know only this, whatever I have told you, you should know only that much with respect to structures and enums. We as such don't have any specific program for that. But if you want, I will show you one program of enum or structures.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
But with respect to your syllabus, you don't have it. We directly have, we now need to move to the classes. So I will see then in the next lecture, then I will write certain programs with functions and then argument passing and all that. I have to check whether how many of you are aware about that call by reference, call by value. This you might have learned in your C also. What do you mean by call by reference and call by value? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we will see about the functions then, and then we will move to classes. Thank you everyone. You can leave now.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye, ma'am.
Bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye, ma'am.